can probably take a look without the sound. I don't know what's happening with the sound. Hi everyone. I'm sure you connected the face there. So I happen to be Dr. Kuljeet Uppal. I'm sorry there has been this last minute technical hitch. My computer didn't seem to work. It didn't seem to like being around the system here. So I've had to make these last minute changes. So I'm here today to talk to you about, in fact very briefly, about an invention of mine called PIQ. I'll run through it extremely fast because I know we're short on time. So why did this journey happen is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the tool, and I'm also going to tell you about how it's going to have an advantage to each one of you. So what happens in today's world? It's an extremely competitive world. We all know that. And competition has spanned across all walks of life, all profiles, all ages. And we know it's not just geographically dominated. It's there across the world. And in this scenario, in this dynamism, it's extremely important to ensure that you are able to make a place for yourself. We all know that. So indirectly, it's Darwin's theory at full play, survival of the fittest. So keeping that in the backdrop of my entire invention, I have done a research for 6-7 years, of course, in this area, where I plunged into the depth of psychology, sociology, anthropology, physiology, semiotics, communication, mathematics, statistics, and what have you, design, aesthetics, all of that. Just to be able to understand that what is it that can actually create an impact in the right perspective when it comes to a perceiver looking at you, or listening to you, or perceiving you, in your entire way that you are. And what I came up with was, if we can just shut that door, it's very distracting. This gentleman has walked out. That's okay, thank you. It's okay, somebody else will shut it. So, at the end of the day, based on all of that in-depth research, I came up with some 6 core elements that crucially contribute to your image. And that is, I'll just share them with you: verbal skills, your body language, self-concept, clothing, etiquette, and grooming. But the most important in all of this is self-concept. And that is the rationale you have about yourself, the mental picture that you have about yourself. So it's an entire journey to first have your inside sorted, and after that come to the surface. So it's an inside to out experience, and that becomes very critical. So it's not a makeover. So the subject that I've brought together today is a management subject, and in fact it's being taken as a management subject called PRIM, which is PRIM from the word, you know the phrase, right? Prim and proper, easy to remember. So PRIM is persona and image management. And I'm happy that today, starting off with India, IIM Bangalore, which is one of the very elite institutions of management in India, has accepted this as a management subject. And I've co-authored a book on entrepreneurship education. It's a New York-based Springer publication, in fact. The good thing is that because it has taken a scientific dimension, it needs some set of tools for people to be able to utilize. And that's how came into play this invention called PIQ. We've all heard of IQ, have we?
Yes.
EQ?
Yes.
Okay, so I bring to the world PIQ, which is the world's first ever persona and image quotient. And this has been derived out of lots of work on high-level mathematics and statistics. So back end, there's been a lot of testing that's happened before it even came out into the open. A lot of validity, reliability checks, factorial MANOVA and whatnot. I mean, I don't want to get into that jargon. But it's all already been tested on 120 people in the first shot, after that 600 people, everything checked, and now it's taken a digital mode. Now you may ask me, why digital mode? It may have been fine manually. Well, my dear, all of you lovely soul sisters, the fact is that if I'm sitting here today in India and I want to scale it up and give that advantage to everyone across the world, then that's the only way to do it, go digital in this world. So the app, in fact, is now where everybody can take that test and ascertain for herself or himself where he or she stands on that scale for all the 6 elements of image. And that is something that helps you at least build your starting base. We all have perceptions about ourselves, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But do we have a true reckoner that actually tells us where you are? Probably not. And this is what it is going to do. Because it has been scientifically devised to go past all kinds of environments, all kinds of people, all kinds of cultures. So largely speaking, PIQ helps to determine all these 6 elements and gives you a chance to look at yourself in retrospect and say, okay, maybe my clothing is fabulous, but I've got an issue with my etiquette. And that's what's going to be deciphered, because you're going to get a scale right there. And the whole tool works beautifully. Let me just quickly tell you in terms of the entire concept and how the utility is going to happen. So firstly, when you take this test and you log in, you're going to find yourself, of course, go past 4 different sections. One which is going to go past a typical multiple choice question, and it's going to ask you what you feel about yourself. It's very important, because self-concept is not only about what a person thinks. It's what you think about yourself, what somebody else also thinks, and what is it that you're trying to project. So it's a combination of all of these 3 things which are going to get wrapped in. You may feel when you look at the questions, hey, this is easy. You know, if somebody's asking you, what do you prefer, tea or coffee? You're going to say, where was the mathematics in this? Where was the stats in this? This is tea and coffee. But believe me, it's taken a lot of effort. Back there in psychology, there are always questions carved out in a certain manner which get your inner being out. And somewhere down, questions will be repeated with the English being changed a little bit here and there, just to see the consistency in your flow of thought. So that's a typical thing, the way the questionnaire is generated. Anyway, once you're done with the MCQ, you will move into a general preferences section which asks various things, interesting things about what you like in order of preference. Third is it captures you in audio, which means the scientist lab is listening to what it is capturing. So we're hearing your voice, and the voice is a big giveaway. So we're also judging on various aspects. Your clarity, your pronunciation, all of that is being wrapped in, and of course the content of what you say. And last but not the least is the video, where you're completely taken in, right from head to toe, and you're being judged in terms of your clothing, your body language, and all of the other things. Alright? And it's very interesting, because by the end of all of this journey, you actually would have felt it's a different experience. You probably have not been asked those kind of questions. And only when you take the test, you'll realize that, okay, yeah, this is something that's made you have a rendezvous with yourself. That's a tagline I use time and again. And of course, once you finish the PIQ in about roughly 20 odd days, you will get a detailed, heavy-duty report that comes on every element and tells you every single aspect is at what level, including a gauge chart for every element that I broadly said, 6 elements, right? They're called constructs in scientific jargon. Every construct has multiple indicators that lead to that construct. So for every indicator, you're going to get a scale that's going to tell you, okay, for this, if we're talking of your verbal skills, then point 1, 2, 3, the indicators are going to give you exactly your scoring and tell you where is the small little thing that probably you've not looked at keenly enough. So it's going to go into a micro kind of an analysis, and I think it's very, very helpful. The good thing is here that all the sample sizes, the first 120 and after that the 600 odd that have taken it, have all benefited. So the reason I wanted to share this is also because I think all of us want to get better and better and better, don't we? And it's a good opportunity for us to actually get into a self-analysis mode. And what better than doing that with a tool that is already provided for you to do that. You know, it's already scientifically tested, and determining your entire image on all those 6 parameters becomes child's play. So that's what I want to tell you all about. And a good thing just for all the people at WEF, in case you want to take the test, and you do plan to take the test at some point in time, for anyone who within this 6-day format wants to take the test, I will do my Prim Enhancer consultation free of cost for them after they've taken the test. So they will get a free one-on-one session, which will be the recommendation from the image scientist straight out, which will need a personalized session on Skype or some source of video chat. Okay, so that's, am I done with my 15 minutes? I've tried to speak at a speed, trying to cover up on time. Okay, so I think I'll ask them to ask me questions. Is that okay? Fine. Any questions before I give a summation to it? Yeah.
So this is a very interesting concept. It's really nice.
Thank you.
Once the report comes out, is there any assistance on guidance on what to do and what happens after the report comes out?
Yeah. So what you get is a picker. I call it a picker. It's actually a PIQ apostrophe KER. KER is the Kriya Evaluation Report. Okay, so it's picker. It's easy to remember. I love these acronyms. Prim, picker, very easy to pick up. Okay, so once you get the picker, which is the detailed report, that is when you will be given a recommendation at the end of it for which are the areas which have been found great. And if you feel the need to enhance it on your own, fine. If you feel you need professional intervention, that's when you can reach out to me, and we have the Prim Enhancer, which means that is when we help you take it on. And like I just mentioned a minute ago, that the Prim Enhancer can be free of cost in case, of course, you do it during the WEF. You decide to take, or rather enroll for the test during, that's the only leverage I can give. I'm to all my sisters here. So that's, I cleared the question. All right, great. Anyone else? Yes, please.
Sorry, I missed that. Like, what were the parameters for anyone who takes it this weekend, did you say, or?
While we are at WEF, I would ideally say today, because I know it can be quite a circus. There are too many people coming in and out. But, I mean, you can take my card if you want to get in touch with me, or leave your cards. I can get back to you, regardless, if you're showing any interest. If you're at WEF, and before WEF has come to a close, and you want to take the test, and you enroll, leave your, credentials with me, I'll give you that one-on-one session free. Completely. So that will have to be after the PIQ, of course.
Right, so we have to speak to you to get access to the test, right? That's what I'm getting at.
You'll have to leave your email ID with me,
okay.
And we'll get back officially with a mail asking you to register and then go on. But you will have the benefit of having that session. It otherwise costs 30,000 rupees if somebody takes on the Prim Enhancer. But right now I'm just making that offer to all my friends here. Yeah, okay, so if you noticed, I have my website, that's www.kriya.co.in. I can probably hand out my cards to all of you, the ones who are interested, and that's where you take the PIQ. And so the process is basically that you get onto the website, get onto the page which says PIQ, and key in your details, and it will follow up with a mail. So now when you key in your details, or any of you who are keen right now, there will be an option which will say, how did you get to know of PIQ? Mention conference in that. So I know that, okay, this is the WEF conference that we're talking of. All the people within this date who have registered will get their Prim Enhancer free of cost. But you'll need to take the PIQ. Based on your report, then I can do a consultation further on. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, so I'll close it on this count. If there's anyone interested in the PIQ, do let me know. And if you need my card, please take it from me, because I wouldn't know who's keen. You are, okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I raced through like I was in the 5th gear, thinking that I really did. I know I was speaking so fast. But it's been a delight. And if there are any more questions, I'd be happy to take them offline. Thank you.